Hey guys, my name is Bando. This is Brexit Bando. Sorry that I've not had a video up recently. I had a bit of a bad cough, bit of a chest infection sort of thing going on yet again. I'm probably still a bit husky there, so I do apologise. Thanks for sticking with me though, I do appreciate it. So what we've got here is a couple of articles up on Warcom that I thought we should go through. And yeah, I mean they cover the old world and 40k. There's no heresy stuff yet. That'll be coming out tomorrow. So the first up here is the art of remastering classic miniatures, and this article basically is going over how the studio is taking these old metal models, and what they're doing is then creating new masters. They're creating new molds so they can release these for modern audiences, because none of the models that are being released for the old world are just old stock. None of them are just old molds. They've all had new molds created fresh, allegedly, which means we may see a missing dwarf plastic kit that was lost because they damaged the mold. So yeah, we got so they're talking here how they've been modifying the old models. In some cases, the original greens. For those of you who don't know, greens are the original 3-up, so usually 3 times the size, green stuff, i.e. knee-deep modelling putty, hand-sculpted models. So a lot of models from this era, this is just before CAD, were made by traditional sculpting methods, and they'd usually sculpt in a larger scale than you're actually used to seeing. Usually 3 times the size, hence the name 3-ups. So the factory keeps the cast masters. So what happens is they create the original, they get the sign off and say yes, we're happy with this, and then they cast it, and that cast is the master. They then usually cast another 3 or 5 off of that, and those are the actual production masters. And these will get put in safes all over the place. They'll be kept off-site, that sort of thing. And it's usually more than one of the original master. Because basically what you do is the second layer of masters, or the cast masters, as some people call them, those are the ones that you use to create your mould. And this is usually traditionally silicon moulds. And because it'll wear out. Basically, every time you pour resin into it and you pull it out, you're just ever so slightly wearing the model out. Maybe it breaks, that sort of thing. So eventually you're going to need to replace that master. That's where you go back to the one above it that you've kept in a safe, usually off-site. And that you create another one. Because you're only doing that once every, say, 10,000 times, that one doesn't wear out very quickly. And if that one does wear out, you've got another one, and then you've got the original green as well. Now, we don't have to have this problem anymore, because everything's done digitally, and it's very difficult to wear out, a .obj file. But these are older models, and they were made in metal, so it's a different technology. So, what they did is they've resculpted in some of the missing details because they can cast in a higher quality nowadays. That's really cool. They've added extra details in, let's see, rivets, that sort of thing. Eye sockets on skulls have been sharpened. That's really cool. But the big one here, the casket of souls. Well, this originally was just blank. It was just a metal slab, basically. So now that's had extra details put in, which is really cool. The problem with adding extra details is that sometimes they won't match the rest of the model, This is a good model. The problem with this model is that it's just a bit static, which is a bit silly. This should be mounted on something. This should be on some sort of dais or something carried by slaves, or on the back of something. The casket of souls should be a bit more of a centerpiece, in my opinion. But here's 2 that are really interesting. So the first of is the scorpion, the tomb scorpion, which I intend to pick up loads of, because I actually want to use them as demons in my Thousand Suns for my esoterist. So what they've done here, originally the models were just made up of pegs. So you would, I don't want to say you would peg the leg in, because that's, the legs all fit in the same places. in specific places. So the poses were always going to be the same, the arms were always going to be the same. These have been re-sculpted as ball joints, meaning there's now going to be a load more posability in that model. That's great. That's real brilliant innovation or change. Great to hear. They've also given us a third carrion. There was originally only 2 carrion sculpts. I know Trish's surname. I can't remember what Trish's surname is, and that really annoys me, but I know she's a phenomenal sculptor, and I'm so annoyed I can't remember her name. So yeah, she sculpted the original 2. They've taken the greens, they've probably cut the greens up, or they've probably actually just cast a master off it and used those. And then they've made a third one, and that way they can sell them in a pack of 3 rather than just 2. And because this is something Games Workshop used to do, you'd have a unit that was like 1 to 3, and they'd sell it in packs of 2. Very cheeky, but it's what they just did. You know. Oh, you've got an extra one. Maybe you buy a third pack, and now you've got 2 units of 3. And this unreleased head for the Bone Giant, which looks hilarious. It's very Ray Harryhausen. It's very stop animation. I can, in my head, can just see this moving in that janky stop motion fashion of like Jason and the Argonauts, that sort of thing. I'm a little disappointed with how many of these units they have not just replaced in plastic. I'm sure they will eventually. I'm looking forward to New Abshanti. I love the idea of the Abshanti. I love the idea of the Bone Giant, that sort of thing. But they do need some updated models. So it's all Toon King stuff mostly. The trebuchet. These will all be coming out in like Forge World resin. So they will be a bit more expensive, unfortunately. And they will have that like 15 plus marker on them. So if you've not worked with resin before, it's a little different to plastic. It is considerably more forgiving than metal is. You don't have to worry about the weight of everything. I know people who were tearing their hair out building things like this. So yeah, looking forward to that. That's going to be good. I actually think this should be bigger. I know it sounds silly, but trebuchets are big. I don't think that's got enough clearance to actually launch that. I don't know. So it's good to see that they're actually thinking about this and they're putting some effort in. So that article I really like. Great to see the classic Screaming Skulls catapult at the back there. So that's cool. I really like that. That's a good article. Give it a read and have a look at it. It gives you a little hint of how they used to make models, which is kind of cool. They used to show it in Games Workshop, in White Dwarf. They used to show us the greens and the 3-ups of the sculpts sometimes, which is really cool. You can still see that sort of thing if you go to like the Perry Brothers website. They'll show you the greens they're working on, so that's kind of cool. So next up we have Battling with Deathwing Terminators, and we've got the update to the Deathwing Terminators obviously coming out soon. It should be this Saturday, I believe. And this just basically gives us the rules. Doesn't really show us anything new. It does give us a couple more pictures with a bit more information, or close-ups. Like we get to see this helmet a bit clearer. I do like this helmet. I am thinking of getting these guys, but they won't be Dark Angels. And it goes through the rules, and from what I can glean from the guys who, love playing these sorts of guys, they're not happy. They've got a minor boost, but quite a hefty points increase. It looks like it may be a bit of a double-edged sword, unfortunately. So, depending on how the rest of the codex is balanced, it's not entirely sure how good these guys are now. But this is one of those things that, Games Workshop may want to balance an army in a specific way. They may not want people taking large amounts of Terminators. Which is ironic when they're selling a box of 15 Terminators. So yeah. We got Inner Circle Task Force for 2,000 points. Quite an easy army to put together, I suppose. Interesting Deathwing Assault enhancements. Do they actually... Okay. Alright. So yeah, this comes out Saturday, and should be priced at about £135. It's two units of regular Terminators, a unit of Deathwing Knights, Belial, and 2 of the new Dark Angels upgrade kits, plus transfers, data cards, and a limited edition codex. I'm going to try and get my hands on this box set. If I do, I'm probably going to give away the codex and the data cards on some sort of giveaway. We've had one already on the channel, and we had a gentleman in Austria who won a model from us, so we're looking forward to doing something again. That is, if I can get it and not be scalped. Right, so the last bit is another Dark Angels one. Run rings around enemies with your Ravenwing detachment. Okay, the only problem... So there's not much in this one here. This image gives me a little hope. Okay, the Ravenwing Knights, or Black Knights kit is a wonderful kit for Dark Angels bits. As a Heresy player, I like being able to get my hands on bits. I love your bits. So losing that to, say, just getting an Outrider kit with some upgrades, not great. So I'm hoping this is a sign that we're not losing that kit, because if we are, that's going to suck. Secondly, this land speeder is highly unique for the Dark Angels. I also really want the pilot, but I cannot find him separate for love nor money. So again, glad we're not losing that from this piece of artwork. Hopefully it doesn't, disappear and we get to keep using these things. Is that a sodding great big mold line on a studio model? That's awful. I hope that's just a painting issue or a photo issue. But if that's a mold line that big, oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad. But again, this is just another focus on the rules. No new models in here, and yeah, it just kind of it's good that they're still paying attention to the Ravenwing. It did feel like we were missing out a lot on the Ravenwing with all the focus on the Deathwing at the moment. Dark Angels were one of the first Marine armies I painted. I didn't have much of them. I did have the Deathwing Terminators and I absolutely loved them. I remember my aunt bought them for me, and they didn't have the flamer inside. I just had 5 Stormbolters, and I made her take me back into town to go to my local Games Workshop and get that flamer. Those were the 2nd edition metal ones in the polystyrene tray. So we got a lot coming up. We got a lot of releases coming up this weekend. We got Heresy Thursday tomorrow. We have the official release of Fantasy this weekend as well. So, it could be a big one. I've still yet to receive my order from Element Games, but they're waiting on one item. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to recording and building this Dark Elf army for Fantasy with you guys. I'm looking forward to building some terrain in the next couple of videos. I just need to clear some space out. Unfortunately, I've just been to IKEA and got some more furniture, so it's just more and more stuff is taking up space. So my plan for the rest of this week is to clear some space out, get that furniture built, use that to put away a load of stuff, sell some Land Rover wheels. I've been left 5 Land Rover Defender wheels by a friend of mine to sell, and I'm not a car guy at all. So that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you had a look at these articles. This first one's probably the best one. It's really going to give us some stuff to go through. I'm really looking forward to getting more coverage on Fantasy, and more importantly, I'm also really looking forward to some of the fantastic Heresy conversions we're going to get, because back in the day, these Tomb King kits were all the rage for Thousand Sons. Thousand Sons collectors used parts from these models like mad, and it's going to happen all over again, baby, and I can't wait. So you want cheap breeches, you just get your hands on some shields. Alright, thank you very much for watching. My name is Bando. This is Brexit Bando. If you are looking at picking stuff up this weekend, please don't hesitate to shoot yourself over to Element Games and use my code JAM737, where you can get double reward points. So for every pound you spend, so every £10, I can't quite remember, I think it's every £10, you get 1 point. 1 point is a pound back, and you can start knocking, money off. I've got a whole army with these points. They won't just turn around and go, no, you can't use them, that's too much. Guys, go crazy. You don't have to get it all in one go, but you build up a little piggy bank of yourself for some points. Get yourself something nice. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.